Welcome to the Virtual Grip Network's coverage of the Bootleg Racing League. Hey, we're having some very unusual technical circumstances following us around tonight, so we're going to try to bring you a radio broadcast for the time being of the late model Invitational Series here in the Bootleg Racing League. Tonight, we roll into my home state of South Carolina, the second largest producer of peaches in the United States of America, second only to, you guessed it, California. Mr. Aggressive Chris Davis joins yours truly, Ricky Harden-the-Wall Harden up in the booth as I slide over in the soup seat for tonight's race. Ryan Sineker in the booth directing us. However, we just don't have the typical cameras that we have available on most weeks, so we're going to do the best we can to get this thing started. Not a lot of time to run you through the grid because we're coming to the green right now, Chris. The leader of the race was supposed to be Mike Allen, but he went ahead and pulled down pit road on the initial start right here. So we're going to get the green flag with Daryl Weinecker on the inside of the front row, taking the green flag as we speak. Chris?
Yeah, and here we go, green. That's going to be interesting. I think SDK may have gone on strike. We don't have a camera crew here tonight, so we're going to do the best we can here from the broadcast. But wow, Mike Allen already out to the front. Trey Blome in second. Daryl Weininger in third. Lowell, the boss man, in fourth.
So yeah, like as I mentioned, Mike Allen, he had to roll it down pit road, but Trey Bloom and Daryl Weininger are out there on the track battling for the lead right now. We're looking on the cameras back at Aiden Young side by side with one of the Shanowskis in the 31 machine. That is Matt Shanowski. His brother Tim got his first victory of the season last week here in the Bootleg Racing League Late Model Invitational Series. You know, that was his first win in over 10 seasons here in the Late Model Series.
And he was pretty excited about it. But, you know, what I like is up front, we're going side by side, 2 by 2, all the way through the first 3 rows. You know, it would be great if we had more camera control because, wow, we have some good racing going on up front.
Yes, we do. Cars going everywhere. It looks like the caution flag is flown as everyone is... no, it hasn't. No, the caution flag hasn't flown, but everyone is pulling off the track. I'm not exactly sure what is happening here as everyone goes down pit road right here. And only one car remains on the track. It's Daryl Weininger. He goes into the front stretch wall. So, folks, it's just been one of those kind of nights where we've had a lot of technical difficulties, and it looks like this race is being called due to rain at this point. Yeah, let's pull Lowell Jewell up here and see if we can figure out what's going on as everybody pulled off the track. Lowell, we've seen some technical difficulties, but we're live on YouTube right now. We're just trying to get an update on what's going on here.
Yeah, some glitch somewhere, or maybe an admin set it up wrong, but we only raced 3 laps.
Well, there you have it.
I got to go set up another server here.
Excellent. There you have it. That is an interesting set of circumstances that we've experienced all night tonight. We had cameras not working. We had the lap set to only 3. We wasn't even looking at that because we didn't have our typical overlays. So there you have it. Daryl Weininger wins this little 3-lap race, even though it doesn't count for anything.
Well, you know, Ricky, it's funny that you mentioned about peaches because, you know, there's a great song about moving to the country and eat a lot of peaches. And I won't even follow the lyrics. But what I will say is...
song's about peaches, sir.
But what I will say is I actually grew up in California, which grows more peaches than where you're from. And not only do we grow more peaches, we're also famous for almonds. And did you know that a peach and almond are really the same thing?
Wow, that's quite interesting. We're gonna go back to the intro screen here as we set up a new server. We'll be back with you shortly. Appreciate everybody for tuning in here on Virtual Grip Network. Welcome to the Virtual Grip Network's coverage of the Bootleg Racing League. Last week, the Late Model Invitational Series took on Larry Kinglaw's Langley Speedway, where Tim Shinofsky took the lead on lap 2 and never looked back, holding off J.R. Shepard to pick up his first BRL Late Model Series win in over 10 seasons. It was also Tim's first top 5 and top 10 of the season in 4 starts. Tim Shinofsky was able to hold off J.R. Shepard, and Joseph Snyder finished in 3rd. His brother Matt Shinofsky finished in 4th, and Chris Davis rounded out the top 5. Tonight, we will roll into my home state of South Carolina. Mr. Aggressive Chris Davis joins yours truly, Ricky Hard-in-the-Wall Harden, up here in the booth as I slide over into Soup's seat for tonight's race. Ryan Seneca will be in the director's chair with a beer and his legs propped up, as we'll have no replays available with ongoing issues outside of VGN's control. So let's settle in for some racing action in Vanna White's hometown, dirty Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the mini golf capital of the world, where Myrtle Beach Speedway sat from 1958 until its demolition after the 2020 season. Thanks to iRacing, this track is immortalized, and drivers will continue to do battle well into the future. Chris, what can we expect out of this track and these drivers tonight?
Well, this track is very interesting because depending on the car, the line is actually very different. As we were watching earlier tonight, in fact, the race that I was in with the Legends, a smaller car, we were running way up against the wall entering the turn very late. Earlier last night with the Modifieds, you can enter in early and have no problem getting through the turn. So it's going to be really interesting how these cars drive. What I'm expecting is probably a good amount of side-by-side racing. Now, we do have a lot of laps to go, but if you're running on the outside and you can hold the person to the inside down low, you can make them use up your tires more than you are, and that could be to your advantage later on in the race. So I'm looking for some side-by-side racing here tonight, Ricky.
That sounds great. I hope we'll see it. Let's go to the grid. We're not going to have any graphics up here for you tonight. All the graphics are having issues. They're on vacation, but Mike Allen was scheduled to start from the pole. He's going to pull it down pit road and not start there. Trey Bloom is going to start in the 2nd position. Darrell Weinecker in 3rd. Lowell Jewell in 4th. Ruben Altiz in 5th. John Wilson 6th. Aiden Young in the 7th position. The double deuce of Bruce Pearson in 8th. Mike Holloway 9th. Adam Shane in 10th.
Then we have Matt Shinofsky starting 11th. Joseph Snyder starting 12th. J.R. Shepard starting 13th. Tim Shinofsky 14th. Austin Belke 15th. Joe Segala 16th. Todd Liston 17th. And Donnie Moore 18th.
Yep, we're going to take the green flag. Jeffrey Harden in 19th, Matt Hoos 20th, Jeffrey Kemper, Mark Herzog, Steven Spees, and Bobby Hayes round out your 24-car field. As they come out of turn number 4, Darrell Weinecker holds them back. He's on the loud pedal really, really late right there on that start, but Weinecker gets a great jump. He's going to go out to the lead. We're watching a little further back as we're just going to be on whatever iRacing thinks the most interesting battle is on the cameras. So we have very little control here tonight of these cameras, so it's going to be a little bit different broadcast than normal, but they're all single file in the top 4, and as you can see, the bulk of the battling is right here in the back half of the top 10. You can see Aiden Young just clear of that yellow car. That's the 30 of Mike Holloway in the Loves machine. He's on the bottom. John Wilson up to the top, and Matt Shinofsky hot on their heels.
And Weinecker did a great job. I mean, he definitely was late. I saw the green flag light up before he even got on the loud pedal, but it's worked out to his advantage. He's running a bit of a higher line. That's that high to low entry that we were talking about earlier, and it's working for him at this point. It can be a great way to save your tires. I think that's going to be important here for how long this race is going to be. We do have a bit of side-by-side battle there going there between, it looked like the yellow car, Pearson. A lot of side-by-side racing going at this point.
Yeah, guys bouncing off each other right there in the center of 1 and 2. You see Bruce Pearson losing a little bit of momentum. J.R. Shepard is now to the bottom of Aiden Young just in front of this. These are the guys to watch because they're going to work their way to the front. Now, last season when we came to this track, we had a lot of green flag racing, and it made for a fuel situation that drivers needed to pay attention to because you can run this thing out of fuel and you can blow tires if you're too aggressive on that right front early in this race.
Yeah, you really can. One of the things about these late models is that from the fastest to the slowest, there's very little spread. So it's very close racing. Everyone is pretty much about the same speed. That's part of the reason why we're seeing side-by-side racing going on so early at this point. And it makes it very difficult to pass because even the people who maybe don't have the skill of, say, a J.R. Shepherd, they're still almost as fast.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, it's a cat and mouse game early in this race. These guys do not get any sets of tires laying in pit road. So they're just going to be out here trying to save those tires. A little bit of trouble further back. Adam Shane gets turned. He goes into the inside wall right there at pit road entry. But there's a spin in turn 3 and 4 as well. John Wilson goes around.
Yellow flag is out.
Yellow flag out. Right, like I said, we're probably not going to see any replays of this, but John Wilson just got a little bit sideways going into turn 3. He got some help from the 26 of Donnie Moore. What I think, this all started on the back straightaway, and you saw it on your screen. The 79 machine of Adam Shane gets turned in the middle of the back straightaway. He kind of came off the wall, and he went across the nose of Joe Segala, and he spun into pit road. That did not trigger the caution, but I think what happened is Donnie Moore, who was right in front of that, was looking in his mirror and got into turn 3 a little too hard, getting right into the left rear corner of John Wilson, and that brought out our caution.
Well, very astute. You have the eyes of my old mom, because it seems like you saw a whole lot more than I would have expected. Caught everything that was going on there, Ricky. Awesome job. You know, Adam, he might have benefited from the fact that he spun into the infield, because had the caution not come out, that would have been horrible for him. If he hasn't hurt the car, this is going to allow him to maybe restart the field at the tail end and still be on the lead lap.
Yeah, I got bad news. He hit the inside wall.
Oh, no, he's hurt hard, yeah.
And he is out of this race. So, tough break for Adam Shane. It looks like he's going to finish back there in the 23rd position. Mike Allen actually did not take or he did take the green flag, but he pulled it off right after the green flag. He was scheduled to start from the pole tonight, but that didn't happen. So we've got 2 cars out of the race, and the other 22 still on the lead lap. John Wilson, the one that triggered that caution, he kind of got away, no harm, no foul, and kept on rolling right there. So with that said, do we want to try to bring somebody up into the booth to talk to before we go green?
Yeah, that would be great. Any chance we can get Ruben Altice up in the booth? Hey, Ruben, this is Mr. Aggressive up here in the booth. You got a cop?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, Ruben. A nice start here from 5th. You're up here to the 2nd. How do you think the outside line's going to play out?
Not really sure. It's kind of tough up there, but we'll try our best to make it work.
Any chance that you can get a run here on Darrell here on the restart, or do you think you're going to try and drop down to the bottom?
Probably try to drop to the bottom if I can get in.
All right, Ruben. Well, thank you so much for joining up here in the booth. I'll let you turn your attention to the windshield ahead of you and the race in front of you.
Thank you, sir.
That was a good call right there, Chris. He's worked his way all the way from 5th up to that 2nd spot, but I do think that it's going to be a struggle restarting on that outside lane. Now, last night in the SK Modifieds, we saw that the outside lane could not get anything going, but as we've seen in the first 10 laps tonight, it seems like the outside might not be so bad in these cars.
No, it really might not, you know, and it was nice that Ruben joined us here, because he's not someone who normally wants to be brought up into the booth, but I was curious to hear what he thought. You know, these cars here early on and on cold tires, you might be able to run pretty hard on the outside, but I don't think you want to do it for too long.
Yep, it's all about managing those tires early. This is a 100-lap race. We are currently working lap 13 as we come to the restart at the end of lap 13 here. On the front row, we've got Darrell Weiniger holding that first position and Ruben Altice on the outside of the front row in that black machine. Second row, 32, that's Trey Bloom with Lowell Jewell in the black number 2 to his outside. Coming into the restart zone, here we go. Weiniger's going to hold him back. They come to the first restart line, and green flag is out. Weiniger again holding him back very late. He's waiting until that green flag, but no checkups that I can see throughout the field. It looks fairly clean as we get away from the restart zone and down into turn number 1 and 2. Oh, man, 3 wide, 4 wide off of turn number 2. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen that here at Myrtle Beach. Jeffrey Harden and the Butcher of Baton Rouge, the number 39 of Joe, he got into the almost got into the inside wall as they got into each other coming off of turn number 2, but they all get away.
Well, that's one of the things that you can see here, Rookie, is that, as I was mentioning earlier, the racing is so close. Everybody has about the same speed that when you have a chance to go, you kind of got to go. And, normally we try and keep it clean here in the BRL, but if you can get a run on somebody and go 3 wide on a track as wide as this, you might as well try and take it. And I think that's what we were seeing early on here on this restart.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like the top 6 are all single filed out now. We're watching the battle for 7th. That's the double deuce. Bruce Pearson in the black and green machine on the bottom right there. He's getting a little bit loose off of turn number 4. And he's got Matt Shinosky in the 31 to his outside. Todd Liston looking to the inside of Shinosky in the 87 car right there off of turn number 2. They're side by side down the back straightaway. This is a battle for the 8th position now.
And
side by side through. Go ahead.
And Todd Liston is definitely someone who tends to push early. He doesn't mind going to the front and using up his stuff a little bit early on to get there. And then once he gets near the front, it seems as though he tries to save his tires as much as he can or just defend as hard as possible. So it's not surprising to me to see Todd Liston push so hard so early. But meanwhile, Pearson, he looks like, he almost dropped to the inside of the boss man. The boss man blocks a little bit. He tries to make his own move there on Mike Holloway.
That's right. Holloway really kind of stacks the field up right there. J.R. Shepard got to his inside last lap. Now J.R. has moved into the 4th position. Mike Holloway settles into that 5th spot. The battle back here is behind Bruce Pearson. It's Todd Liston on the inside, and the outside is the 31 of Matt Shinosky. To his inside, now Jeffrey Harden in that black and red machine with the gold numbers. They make a little bit of contact off of turn number 2. You saw coming into your frame right there, Jeffrey Harden going down to the bottom of the track. They're side by side back there.
And we were talking about saving tires earlier. You watch J.R. Shepard running 4th at this point, looking like he's getting pressure from Mike Holloway. You have to believe that J.R. is just being very cautious and calculated at this point, because I would like to believe that he could be to the front in no time at all, but is really being very calculated in how he's getting around this track at this point. Not a lot of side-by-side racing at this point other than Matt Shinosky there in the 07. He drops back into line at this point. Matt Shinosky back at 9.
That's Tim Shinosky. He makes the pass on Joseph Snyder back there in the 07 there. And the 31 in front of Jeffrey Harden, that's Matt Shinosky. They're both back there kind of near each other. But it was the 07 who was making the pass back there, I believe. Now, everybody in this field, front to back, is single file. But I think we have a battle brewing for the lead. Right now, Darrell Weiniger has it, and Ruben Altiz wants it.
Yeah, Ruben definitely wants it. We heard him there on the interview there under caution that he was going to try and drop back down and get in line, which is what he did. And now I think at this point he says, you know what, I got what I want, but I want more.
That's right. Weiniger, it looks like, is just driving as hard as he can to try to keep this lead for as long as he can. We're at the 1/4 mark of the race here as they come back to the line. Going into turn 3 right now, they're going to complete lap 25. 100 laps is the distance. You got to hang on to those tires for the duration of the race. But right now, Weiniger and Altiz do not look like they're holding anything back. They want that lead, and they want it now.
And this is going to get interesting at this point. I mentioned J.R. Shepard saving his tires, but with all these cars going single file, he might go green all the way to the end. And if that's the case, it's going to be very hard for him to get to the front. And just as I say that, he's making a move for 3rd place.
Yeah, J.R. Shepard to the bottom of Trey Bloom right behind this. You see them going down into turn number 1, and they're side by side for the 3rd position. Shepard to the inside, Trey Bloom to the outside. Down the back straightaway, this is not going to be much of a contest for a lot longer. J.R. Shepard's on the bottom. This is looking like a J.R. Shepard kind of race. He's just been minding his business. He's just been riding back there, but he's picking them off one at a time as they come back to him.
He really is, and at this point, Mike Holloway down to the inside. Is Trey Bloom going to get freight trained all the way to the back, as we have the boss man Lowell Jewell now lining up behind Holloway. He's trying to get his nose in there. He's going to have the double deuce of Bruce Pearson soon behind him to get to the inside of Trey. Todd Liston is lining it up as well. Trey could wind himself way back. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in 10th by the time that this freight train is over.
Yeah, this is what we saw last night in the SK Modifieds as well. You got on that outside, and it was just choo-choo freight train on the inside. You were just looking for a hole and hoping you could get down somewhere before you went all the way to the back of the pack. As we watch that battle, that's the only guys that are side by side right here. I mean, everybody else just single file throughout this field, and I think that's a product of everyone trying to save those tires and hold on to them for as long as they can.
Yeah, at this point, if you're Trey, how hard do you push the car on the inside? Do you try and pinch him a little bit, or you just give him what you've got and try and regroup? That's going to be the big decision for him. Look at him moving further and further back, as I think that's the 07 there, or is that the 31 of Matt Chinaski getting to his inside?
Yeah, that's Matt Chinaski. He's got Tim Chinaski lined up right behind him as well. So Matt Chinaski just makes the pass going down into turn number 1. Tim Chinaski going through as well. Now Bloom backs off and tries to find a place in line behind that. Finally, they are single file. He fell all the way back to, what spot is that? About the 11th position before he got down to the line. And where was he racing before that? He was in 3rd before J.R. Shepard made the move.
And that's just what I was saying, that I wouldn't be surprised if you drop back to 10th or further. And that's the hard part here, where you're doing everything right. You're right up there at the front. You've got perhaps a podium finish ahead of you, but someone gets to your inside, and just like you said, choo, 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 woo, 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 to the back you go.
No doubt about it. Ruben Altiz really starting to put some pressure on the 15 of Darrell Weiniger as we look back here at the leaders up front. I mean, he is right on the back end of that 15 machine every time I look at him. 15 kind of takes a defensive line going down to the turn number 1 right here. Altiz giving him another look. Let's see if he can get a run off of turn number 2. Looks pretty even Stevens to me, but J.R. Shepard really closing the gap as we talk about these two leaders.
And if you're Ruben Altiz, you can hear the Jaws theme song playing behind you at this point. You know that shark is coming. And so that's part of the reason why you have to go, because if you don't, you know that J.R. Shepard's going to get past, and then you have no chance. The only thing that you can do when J.R. Shepard is coming from behind is to try and get that pass before he gets past you, because otherwise, you know for the most part, that you're probably done for the night. And look at, there it is, J.R. Shepard going for 2nd place.
Yeah, Ruben Altiz got really loose coming off of turn number 4 right there. Held onto it, gathered it back in, tried to take a defensive line, but J.R. Shepard got to the inside anyway. Now, Ruben Altiz sails it down into turn number 3. He's clear of J.R. Shepard for the time being, but is he going to get a good enough run off of turn 4? He lost a little momentum right there off of turn 4. He takes a little bit more of a defensive line going down into turn number 1, and he's going to have the job done. He's not going to lose the spot quite yet. And it's just like you were talking about. The Jaws theme starts playing when these guys see J.R. Shepard behind him, because Shepard is just known for working his way through the field, getting to the lead, and never relinquishing it. So these guys try to stay in front of him as long as they can. Shepard looking to the bottom, going down into turn number 1 right now.
Without a doubt, Ruben Altiz not giving him any room at all, though. Ruben really battling him hard on the outside, which is what you have to do at this point. Now, at the same time, I would say J.R. Shepard was saving his stuff while Ruben is probably burning off that right rear tire. But what else are you going to do? You know that you have to go. And wow, he's still battling hard on the outside. He's not giving J.R. an inch at this point as he drives hard back into turn 1.
Yeah, you know, I've heard drivers complain in the Bootleg Racing League that people pull over too easily for JR and just let him by. But that's not what Ruben Altiz is doing right here. He's racing him. He's giving him a run for his money. But now J.R. Shepard's going to have the job done coming off of turn number 2. Ruben Altiz is going to have to deal with the 30 of Mike Holloway now. Holloway looking to the inside of Altiz. Altiz not quite clear going through 3 and 4. But coming off of turn number 4, is he going to get a big enough run? I think he's going to be able to clear that 30 machine coming into turn number 1.
Wow, look at Ruben race him hard on the outside. You know, that's where the question is Holloway going to just save his stuff and follow Altiz for a while, or is Ruben going to just keep trying to push towards the front as hard as he can? Great job here by Ruben to protect himself, but I think Mike Holloway is going to have his number here within a couple of laps.
Yeah, just look at the attitude of the 70 machine. Every time I see him come off of turn number 4, it looks like he's riding on that right rear. He's hanging the tail out, you know, and you can only do that for so many laps before that right rear tire just gets very unhappy with you. I always call it making the tires mad at you. And if you make that right rear mad at you, you're going to be dealing with it the rest of the race.
That's true, but one of the things that can work from time to time, Rookie, is that you can get the tires mad at you, but if you can get cautions within enough frequency, it gives you the ability to cool off those tires and maybe use them up more than you would have been able to if we went green flag to flag.
Yeah, and you're right about that. We talked about that a lot last night, the heat cycles and the way they work with these tires. I don't think the heat cycles are quite as aggressive in these cars as they are in the SK Modified. Like you get a lot of life back in the SK Modified when you cool them off and then heat them back up. But the one thing I will say is these setups that these guys run in the Late Model Invitational Series tend to be very heavy on burning the right front tire. So if you burn the right rear off a little bit more, it could work to your advantage late as you try to work that right front harder after a heat cycle.
It's funny that you say that, Ricky. It's like every car that you pick up off the lot when I'm talking about a passenger car, which is they make them easy to drive, which means to understeer, whereas most real-life racers would like a car to be a little bit loose. I think these late models are set up just like you expected. You know, the first thing that I do when I pick up a brand new car is see if there's a way that I can tweak the suspension. But I'll shut up because we have J.R. Shepherd going for the lead.
Here it is, lap 48. It took him almost half the race to get there, but he makes it look easy. He dives under the 15 of Darrell Weininger, and he has the lead. I don't believe he's has any plans on relinquishing that lead for the rest of this race. So let's see if he can hold it for these last 52 laps.
But it's not as if Weininger is giving it up at this point. I mean, he's still trying to follow J.R. Shepherd as much as he can, but I'll tell you from first-hand experience, that's probably a recipe for burning up your tires.
Yeah, personally, once you let him by, you just try to save all you can. Hope you get a late restart. Maybe you have something more than that he didn't save. That seems like the best case scenario after you get past. Hey, but I'm all team holding back as long as you can because it sure is hard to get around that 98 car.
It really is. And you know something, you were talking earlier about how sometimes, and people even mentioned that you move over for J.R. Shepherd. I'll be the first to tell you, I have never moved over for him. He's just so good at setting up the pass that it makes it look that easy. He's just one of those people he's got so many laps. He's probably played with everything that you can in these cars, even though they're a fixed setup, that he just knows exactly where to step on the gas, where to step on the brakes, and he's just a tad bit better than everyone else most often, most laps on any given night.
Mike Holloway looking to the outside of Ruben Altiz, seeing if he can work that second lane and make it happen, trying to get that third position. And, you know, he's seen Altiz struggling off these corners. He sees him stepping out, getting that back end, hanging out there a little bit more. And I think that gave him the green light to say, I need to try to make something happen. If I'm not going to have any room on the inside, let's try the outside. And he's still side by side with Altiz through 3 and 4.
He really is, and that's pretty aggressive at this point, trying to run on the outside. But this is what I was talking about. As you get later into the race, if he can pinch Ruben down a bit, he might make Ruben burn up that right front harder than he wants to and actually be able to overcome Ruben and reclaim third place from the outside. And it looks like that's going to happen right about now.
It's the Funk Show brother. Check it out now. Here they go into turn number 1. A little bit of contact, and Holloway is going to go way up the track right there. Good job hanging on to it, but Altiz is going to get the job done now. He's going to take over that third position. And Holloway ended up keeping the 4th position. I thought that Lowell Jewell was going to have a look there on the inside and be able to get a good run on him, but he ended up having to fall back into line in 5th. Now Holloway is going to look to the inside of Altiz going out of turn number 1.
This is some of the best racing we've seen all night. These guys are going for it as if it was only 2 laps to go. Meanwhile, it's only lap 56 of a 100-lap show. So, gosh, these guys battling side by side. If you're running behind them, which is Lowell Jewell, you've got to be excited because I think Lowell here is getting ready for a podium finish.
Yeah, that's the popcorn position. That's where you want to be when you see these guys racing that hard. And they make more contact off of turn number 2. Holloway's going to hit the inside wall. He almost hits the end of pit road wall, but he gets away. No caution. We're going to continue under green. Altiz gets away from that one and keeps that 3rd position, but one free spot for everybody riding behind him.
And at this point, Lowell Jewell, the boss man running 4th, he's got to be pretty excited because he knows Ruben has burned up his stuff at this point, and he has not. So is he just stalking and waiting, or is Ruben just that much faster at this point?
Yeah, a little bit more battling going on right behind them. The double deuce of Bruce Pearson, he's on the outside, and Jeffrey Harden sends it to the inside of him. This is for a spot inside the top 5. Jeffrey Harden and Todd Liston in the 87, they have been side by side for about the last 20 laps, it feels like. But man, almost 3 wide off of turn number 4 as you see Tim Schnosky in the 07 machine, that's last week's winner. He was looking down there at the bottom of the track to see if there was anywhere to go. But Harden on the inside, he's in that red, gold, and black car, and the double deuce of Bruce Pearson in the Mission 22 green and black car. He almost gets some contact from Todd Liston behind this guy. These guys are in a gaggle right here.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I was noticing how Jeff Harden went in, and it looked like he had the pass, and Pearson came right back on the outside. But after that little bump there by Liston, Pearson happy to settle in, back down on the inside. He's going to make a move back on Jeffrey Harden. Can't quite get it there. Lawson sends it deep, coming on outside. I think he's starting to use up that right front a bit as you see him drop back a little bit. Looks like the double deuce of the Pearson has him cleared. Ricky Harden, and now we've got Shinosky on the inside of Todd Liston.
That's right. That's Tim Shinosky looking on the inside of Todd Liston. Liston and Bruce Pearson really running that outside lane. Bruce has not had anyone under him here for a while, but he keeps willingly using that outside lane. It's pretty interesting to see that happen. The 07 machine gets a great run down into turn number 1, and he pulls alongside Bruce Pearson. Looks like they're going to stay side by side here in 3 and 4.
You're right. Pearson's not afraid to run the outside, although I think he's running it a little bit too wide. If Mr. Aggressive was in that car, he would be squeezing them down on the inside, hoping that they might touch those turtles a little bit, because at this point, he's given up the spot and now listened to the inside of the double deuce.
Yeah, we haven't talked about those endangered creatures down there at the bottom of turn 1 and 2. Those are some snapping turtles. You don't want to get on those things. They upset the car. You can see them right here as the cars work their way through turns 1 and 2. You put the car on those turtles, it'll send you right up the track, or it might even send you spinning. They are dangerous. These guys have been staying off of them tonight. It looks like the trajectory that most of the guys have been taking through the corners is just a little bit higher than that very bottom of the track. As the 87 of Todd Liston looks to the inside of the double deuce of Bruce Pearson, they're side by side through turns 1 and 2.
And this is great to see because Bruce is one of those people who joined the BRL and was very, very cautious early on. But as he has started to produce speed and actually picked up some wins, he seemed excited about his win last night and almost surprised by it. Look at how much he has fought off Todd Liston. He was awfully generous because he was very much clear there, could have dropped on the inside. I have to believe that maybe Pearson is liking the outside line.
I think so, but look right behind them. Mark Herzog in that yellow 57 car. He just blasted by this whole pack. He was behind the pack. He wasn't even in this conversation. He passed everybody, and he's to the inside of Bruce Pearson and trying to take that 7th spot right now.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? I think iRacing knows what we know, which is they're not even looking at J.R. Shepard. He is far out in front, but who we haven't talked about, Darrell Weininger's not that far behind in second. He's certainly keeping pace. We've got Ruben Altice running third at this point, and the boss man running fourth. We do have a little bit of side-by-side racing now here. Oh, they almost touch a bit. I couldn't quite tell who that was in the black car. Running inside, that's
Joseph
the
Snyder.
Oh,
Contact!
Contact!
Joseph Snyder. He's going into the inside wall. This is going to bring out a caution.
Caution.
Yes, caution is out. Joseph Snyder into the inside wall. Wow, coming off of turn number 4 right there. It looked like Matt Shinosky, the more handsome of the brothers, gets into the outside wall, and he kind of came off the wall and hip checked Joseph Snyder, and the Butcher of Baton Rouge goes around into the grass on the front straightaway.
Well, you definitely know more than I do, and I keep getting the Shinoskis backwards between the two brothers. So I'm just going to say Shinosky when I see Shinosky, and you can decide who is the more beautiful of the two.
Well, Soup has informed me that that's what they decided. So, you know, sharing the booth with Soup has really enlightened me to all of these different drivers and what they have going on. Hey, why don't we talk to Mark Herzog? He just made his way through that pack of cars and into the 7th position, and I thought it was really interesting the way he did that. Mark Herzog, this is Ricky Harden up in the VGN booth. We just saw you work your way through that gaggle of cars. How did you make that look so easy?
Well, I got lucky. The spots opened up at the right time, and I was able to get there, and everybody held their lines, so we got through without wrecking anybody.
All right, we're going to restart with about 25 laps to go. How well do you think you saved these tires, and do you have anything for these leaders?
I'm hoping maybe I can set up a couple more, but I think that's about it. I'm pretty sure I used them up trying to get up through that little gaggle there.
All right, well, good talking to you. Good luck for the rest of the race. Have some fun.
Thank you. You too.
Well, that was Mark Herzog. He's definitely someone who likes to go. So it was interesting to say that for him to say that he had already burned up his tires, because I just never even caught a whiff of that from what I observed. But what do you think, Ricky? Do you really think he's burned up his tires, or is it just a matter of the fact that the people ahead of him would burn them up even more?
Yeah, I just think that this particular setup and car it feels like you're always burning the right front, and there's not really a good way to save it if you're trying to make any kind of pace. So, we'll see with the heat cycle. We've talked about it before. Every time you get one of these heat cycles, you gain a little bit of life left. We get the 1 to go signal as we cross the line. We're going to be coming back to lap 75. 26 laps will be remaining as we get down here to restart the race. J.R. Shepard is our leader. On the outside of the front row is the 15 of Daryl Weiniger. Starting on the second row, Ruben Altiz is on the inside in the 70 car with Lil Jewel, boss man, in the 2. He's on the outside of the second row. Jeffrey Harden, that's my brother from another mother. He'll be restarting in 5th with Tim Shinofsky, last week's winner, starting in 6th. Coming down to the restart zone.
J.R. Shepard gets the start, and there he goes. He's got a great run. At this point, Weininger, he's stuck on the outside. This is exactly what Ruben Altiz wanted to see. He's now definitely going to take command here of second place. And if you were Lowell Jewell, you did not want that caution because now Jeffrey Harden's got control of the inside. He's making his way up here for a podium spot.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the even and odd fairies and where they're going to line you up on these restarts, and that outside is not being kind to anybody that restarted on it. Daryl Weiniger falling back through the field. He comes down a little bit, makes some contact with Mark Herzog down the back straightaway, but everybody gets away. The top 3 are single file. Behind them, it's just side by side about as far as the eye can see. You just saw that yellow machine of the 30 of Mike Holloway. He made a little bit of contact with Bruce Pearson, went all the way down to the inside. Tim Shinofsky gets turned around right in front of him. You just see him nerf off the inside wall right there. That's going to bring out the caution yet again. Let's see what happens to Tim Shinofsky coming off of turn number 2. It looks like maybe he got a little bit of help. I think what happened here is that Lowell Jewell came down the track and spooked him a little, and he got out of the throttle, and Todd Liston just got into the rear end of Shinofsky coming off of turn number 2 and got him turned around. Shinofsky going to have a lot of damage, and I don't think he's going to go back-to-back tonight.
No, and I was watching that. Lowell Jewell is doing a great job there on the outside. He had the opportunity to be super aggressive and cut off Shinofsky's nose. Chose not to, and that might have spooked Shinofsky a little bit, enough for him, just as you said, Ricky, to let off the gas. And then I think he got a little bit of help from, I don't know if it was Todd Liston behind him, but definitely Shinofsky there was trying to stay off of Lowell as they were battling side by side. Got a little bump there from behind.
Well, why don't we talk to Austin Belke? This is a name we haven't mentioned at all tonight. Austin Belke starting back in the 15th position, and he's barely moved his way forward, but I wonder if Austin's been saving anything. Hey, this is Ricky Harden up in the booth. Austin, we haven't really even focused on you or talked about you tonight, but have you been holding on to anything?
No, it says I started 15th, but I started the race with the EOL from last week. So I think I've gained a lot of positions, but I really had to fight for them. The tires are not doing so hot, so we might go towards the back before the end.
Well, listen, this whole mid-pack, they've been battling really aggressively throughout this race, so you might have more than you think. You're going to be restarting on the inside line. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I feel like I want to be on the top side. When I tried to pass Jeffrey for a while, I don't know what he's doing, off the wall by one lane or not, if he was giving me the outside, but I tried to pass him on the inside, and it didn't work so well. I got to his outside, and it was still difficult to pass, but I feel like I had a much easier time with it, so I feel like you want to be on the top.
Chris, you got anything for Austin?
Well, I was just going to say, Austin, we were talking about the fact that, it looked like people wanted to be on the inside, but we're not in the cars. And to hear you say that the outside is where you want to be, are you going to try and push it there from the outside at this point?
I'm not sure. It's difficult to say.
All right, well, we're going green, but everybody's been battling their tires. Good luck to you, Austin.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Enjoy the show.
Coming into the restart zone, now we've got the 98 of J.R. Shepard leading us down. He's holding them back. Ruben Altiz poking out ahead, and there goes J.R. Shepard. Great launch for him. He gets away from the field. The inside lane behind him did not get going. Jeffrey Harden in that 36 machine, the red, gold, and black machine, he held up that inside lane, and Daryl Weiniger got held up behind him. And we're looking right now, Bruce Pearson right behind the Todd Liston machine on the inside right here. These guys are stacked up side by side for about 5 rows deep. In front of them, most of those guys got out in single file, except for Herzog and Harden, who are still side by side for that third spot.
Indeed, they did. And the funny thing is, Austin went down to the inside. But meanwhile, we've got a whole lot of side-by-side battles there. After first and second, you've got Harden, Herzog, Jewell, Weiniger, Liston, Holloway, all going 2 by 2 at this point.
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch. This is quite the gaggle that we're focused on right here. The 22 double deuce of Bruce Pearson to the inside of Weininger. The 30 of Holloway gets up into the outside wall there coming off of turn number 2. And we just talked to Austin Pelkey. He's going to make a lot of moves right here. Look, he's going to look to the inside 3 wide coming off of turn number 4. Not going to happen. He's going to have to fall in the line behind Bruce Pearson going down into turn 1.
And that's just a matter of him being respectful, because at this point, it is definitely go time. There are 15 laps to go. And if you're someone like Austin Belke, you're not here every weekend. You are trophy hunting. The only thing you want to do is get to the front. And we see at the same time Spees, who's also down there on the inside, Aiden Young. Everybody's trying to go at this point to grab all that they can get.
Yeah, these are a lot of heavy hitters that started a little further back as we see Mike Holloway get into the outside wall. Oh, my goodness. Matt Shinoski got turned into the machine that was stuck in the outside wall. That was Mike Holloway, and Shinoski went flying in the 31. He had Steven Spees to his inside, and it looked like he had to check up, got a little contact from Jeffrey Kemper, and you saw him there on your screen. He kind of got a little bit of airtime as he went up onto the driver's door, spun it around, and kept on rolling. But a lot of damage on that 31 of Shinoski.
Definitely airtime. Now, just for clarification, was that the better of the looking Shinoskis or the worst?
Oh, man, I can't keep it straight. I said what I said, and I'm not going to take it back.
All right, well, we are under caution at this point. It's still J.R. Shepard up front, Ruben Altice in second, Harden in third, the Boss Man in fourth, Herzog in fifth, and Liston in sixth, according to my grid.
That's right. Why don't we talk to Todd Liston? He's going to be restarting in that 6th position. We've seen him kind of working his way through the field. Todd, we've watched you work your way through the field. We'd like to get your input. What do you think about the inside or the outside lane? You're going to be restarting on the outside, it looks like, on this restart.
I definitely prefer the inside just because it's shorter distance around when you're accelerating. It seems to get you around that first lap and a half. I'll be looking to try to slot in where I can, just try to keep it clean and try to see what I got left for the last 10 laps.
Well, that's interesting, Todd, because not everyone necessarily agrees with what you said. I won't share any names at this point because you're still racing. You definitely seem to be someone who pushes early. Are you trying to get to the front and just see what you've got left? I mean, we do only have 11 laps.
Well, I got lucky and was able to follow JR through half the field, so that really helped out. I really didn't have to burn too much off, but that battle with Bruce a while back, I think I might have done a little damage there, but I'm definitely better off more than what I normally am, so we'll see where I'm at.
Well, there you have it. Todd Liston going to be restarting in that 6th position. Good luck, buddy. Hopefully you can make something of this. We're going to be coming to the restart here. We're going to be at 10 laps to go as we take the green flag. J.R. Shepard sits on the front row with Ruben Altice to his outside. We've got Jeffrey Harden lined up on the inside behind him with Lowell Jewell to his outside. Mark Herzog going to be restarting in 5th, and as we just talked to him, that was Todd Liston. He'll be restarting 6th.
Yeah, and we're ready to go green at this point. And it looks like the green flag is out. And once again, J.R. Shepard out to a big commanding lead at this point. 2nd place, Ruben Altice, no problem dropping in line as we go side by side behind Ruben.
Yeah, a little contact between Herzog and Liston coming off of turn number 2 right there. Herzog got way up the track, it looked like, got into the side of Liston, but they all got away from it. They're side by side right behind them. We've got the 15 of Weininger to the inside, and Austin Belke trying to make that outside work. We talked about that earlier. And behind him, Aiden Young, another guy we haven't really talked about. He had to come from further back tonight, but he's all the way up into the 9th position and just looking for a way around these guys. Weininger looks like he's really burned his stuff up and might be holding that field back now.
Yeah, at this point, Lowell Jewell back to 4th, and Herzog pushing it hard inside of Lowell. Here comes Todd Liston. Gets into the side of the Boss Man, keeps it straight at this point, pushes the envelope a little bit again. Boss Man to the outside, but we get it cleaned up side by side. So 1 by 1.
Yeah, everybody's single file up there right now, but Austin Belke just a little bit further up. He's been working the top. He's now got Matt Hoos to his inside and Aiden Young to his inside as well. Both of those guys trying to make something happen underneath of Austin Belke, but all those guys been working their way toward the front all night long. 6 laps to go right here at the line. Nothing happening up front. J.R. Shepard's got a commanding lead over Ruben Altiz and Jeffrey Harden. I don't think there's going to be any competition for any of those 3 spots between now and the end of the race. But we do have a little bit of battling going on back here a little further back. Like I said, it's Austin Belke on the top with Matt Hoos to the bottom, and they're still side by side for that 8th position.
Yes, and I was watching a little bit farther up. Todd Liston did not care that it was the boss man in front of. Oh, caution.
Yeah, that happened a little bit further back here in the field.
Looked like John Wilson got spun around.
Yeah, it actually started with Trey Bloom in the 32 and Joseph Snyder in the 39 machine. We didn't catch it on camera, but Trey Bloom gets kind of checked up, and then I think the 39 of Joseph Snyder had nowhere to go. Yeah, John Wilson also got collected there as he checked up for the incident. He just kind of got a little bit of a love tap in the rear from the other Shinosky, the 07 of Tim, last week's winner. That's going to set up a green-white checkered finish right here. This is going to be quite interesting as these guys try to work it down to the finish.
It sounds like there was a bit of a train wreck there between Trey, John Wilson, and I didn't see who was in between them, but one of those things where accordions happen.
Yeah, and it's really easy to do that here. This is a track that you carry a whole lot of speed on. As you see the 31, that's the other Shinosky. He's going to get his lap back, one of his laps back right here, I believe. He was only 1 down. So Matt Shinosky back on the lead lap. That's going to put 21 cars on the lead lap. That's amazing. That after all this racing, coming down toward a green-white checkered finish, and we've got 21 cars on the lead lap to finish this thing.
Well, that's what just goes back to what I was talking about earlier, Ricky, where the speed between everybody is so similar that it doesn't really surprise me that we have so many cars on the lead lap, but it also just speaks to the kind of camaraderie, respect, and the way that people race here in the BRL. It's part of what makes the BRL such a great league.
Yeah, and the competition is just so close when you get into the mid pack of this field. It's so hard to keep it clean when you've got 15 guys all running the same speed, and this is a tough track to do that on. So just to clean things up a little bit, this is going to be the only attempt at a green-white checkered. If the caution comes out before the white flag, that's going to be it. We're going to end the race right then and there. If the caution does not fly, we'll take the green, we'll come back and take the white, and then we'll get the checkered on the following lap. So 2 laps of green flag racing if it stays under green.
Well, this is one of those things where we talk about it sometimes, where the advantage of VR versus not having VR and just looking at flat screens. When you're in VR, you can turn your head just like in real life and look at the inside car. So I don't remember if Ruben is a VR driver or not, but when I start outside of J.R. Shepard, I don't mind sharing this with anybody who's listening. I look at his right front tire, and as soon as I see that lift a little bit or move in any way, that's my go signal. So there's some advantages to running in VR. You can get a little bit of a creep on the pole sitter and maybe get a jump.
That's right. 1 lap to go until this restart. Like I said, this is a green-white checkered finish. This will be the final restart of the race. It's J.R. Shepard starting on the front row with Ruben Altiz to his outside. We've seen that a lot of times. Jeffrey Harden in the 36 is going to be restarting the 3rd spot with Mark Hartzog to his outside. The boss man Lowell Jewell in the 2 machine, he's going to be restarting 5th with Todd Liston in 6th. Here they come into the restart zone. You can see J.R. Shepard holding them back. Altiz getting way out there, and Shepard launches. He's gone. He's going to get a great jump there. J.R. Shepard gets away. It looks like it's going to be no contest. Altiz sends it down into turn number 1, but J.R. Shepard hammered down off of turn number 2. He's going to gap the rest of the field for about 5 car lengths coming off of turn number 2. Going down into turn number 3, he's going to see the white flag this time. A little bit of contact with the wall behind him, but the white flag is out. That's going to be J.R. Shepard taking the white flag. Ruben Altiz in 2nd, and Jeffrey Harden clears through to 3rd place. Who's it going to be for 3rd? A little bit of trouble behind him. Todd Liston gets turned around by the boss man Lowell Jewell, but it's not going to matter up front because J.R. Shepard comes through turns 3 and 4, and he's going to win here at Myrtle Beach Speedway.
And Ruben Altiz comes home in 2nd. He was late on the start, but he had to be happy to drop in behind J.R. Shepard to come home in 2nd. Jeffrey Harden, heck of a run. Started 19th on the grid and came home with a podium finish.
Wow, what a great finish there. We called it early on. J.R. Shepherd took the lead with a little over half of the race remaining, and he did not let up for the rest of the race. Folks, we're going to let these standings calculate out, and we'll come back and tell you where everybody finished and hopefully get an interview with these top 3 guys. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Virtual Grip Network's coverage of the Bootleg Racing League. The Late Model Invitational Series has just finished up here at Myrtle Beach Speedway, and J.R. Shepherd has brought home another victory on the season. We're going to take you through the full field rundown. You're not going to have the graphic up on your screen, but we'll let you know where your favorite driver finished. J.R. Shepherd, as we mentioned, gets the win, with Ruben Altiz finishing in the 2nd position. Jeffrey Harden worked his way from 19th all the way up to 3rd position. Great run for Jeffrey. Mark Herzog finishes in 4th. Aiden Young, we didn't get to talk about him a lot tonight. He started in that 7th spot and then just kind of rode toward the back half of the top 10 and finished in the 5th spot. Daryl Weininger ran up front all night long, came home 6th. Lowell Jewell comes home 7th, with Matt Hoos in 8th and Steven Spees 9th. Austin Belke rounds out the top 10. Chris?
Donnie Moore started all the way back in 18th. He finished 11th, but not to be outdone. Jeffrey Kemper started 21st, finished 12th. Joe Segala 13th. Trey Bloom 14th. Bruce Pearson 15th. Bobby Hayes 16th. Tim Shanowski 17th. John Wilson 18th. Matt Shanowski 19th. And Todd Liston ended up finishing 20th.
All the rest of these guys ran into trouble tonight. Joseph Snyder got into a late accident, finished in the 21st spot. Mike Holloway finishes 22nd, 15 laps down. Adam Shane, we saw him crash into pit road early on. He finishes in the 23rd position. And Mike Allen pulled off the track real early, finishes dead last in 24th position. There you have it. That's the full field. Let's see if we can catch up with some of these guys here tonight. Your winner, it's J.R. Shepherd. No surprise there. J.R., we saw you work your way up to the lead before halfway, and you never looked back.
Yeah, just a pretty clean race, at least, the first 3 quarters of that race. So just trying to play smart and save the tires, because this place is super abrasive. It will kill the tires. Normally it's the front tire that you got to worry about, but tonight, thankfully, the car was a little bit free, so depending on how you drove it, you could actually get the rear end to hang out a little bit, and the rear tire is actually the right rear was the one that wore most for me, so actually made the car enjoyable to drive. But yeah, definitely you still got to save the tires. If you push too hard early, you're going to have nothing at the end.
Well, a great season so far for you. Another win to add into the collection. Who do you want to thank for all that success?
Yeah, just thanks to the Bootleg Racing League for giving us a place to come and run and try to have fun each and every week. The racing tonight was really enjoyable. Big shout out to Ruben and Jeffrey for finishing up there, and also Daryl. He ran a really clean race and led a lot of laps, so great job by him. Thanks to my team, Different Path Motorsports, and of course everything that you guys are doing up in the Virtual Grip Network booth, guys. We appreciate it.
And we appreciate you. Thank you very much, JR. I'll send it down to Chris Davis, who's caught up with our second place finisher. It's Ruben Altiz.
Hey, Ruben, it's Mr. Aggressive Chris Davis up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Hey, Ruben, I hope I did not throw you off your pace at all when we grabbed you under the caution, but you did come home here in second place tonight. Did you feel pretty good from the start all the way to the end? How did you get there, and how did you stay there?
Yeah, the car felt good the whole race. I want to congratulate Joe on his win, but it just hung in there all night and didn't wear the tires out. And I love this track. Anyway.
Nice. Well, you're always a kind and respectful driver. You started outside front row there on the restart. Were you given any thought to maybe trying to pinch JR and go for a win for yourself?
Yeah, that crossed my mind a lot, and I tried to time when he was going to start, and I never could time it just right. He always beat me to the line, and once he was there, it was over.
Yeah, that's often the case. But you did do a phenomenal job on that restart, starting on the outside and quickly got to the bottom to finish in second. So hats off to you. That was a whole lot of skill you demonstrated there. Who would you like to thank for your second place finish here tonight, Ruben?
Thank you, BRL, and all the admins here, and the good Lord above, and thank y'all for what y'all do at Bernie Booth.
Well, thank you so much, Ruben. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, to race with you. You are a class act, and we love having you here as part of the BRL. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ruben Altice. I'm hoping that you have caught up here with Jeffrey Harden, our third-place finisher here tonight. Ricky?
You know it. 2 nights in a row, get to interview my brother from another mother. It's Jeffrey Harden from the California Sim Club. Finishes in the 3rd position. Jeffrey, great race for you tonight. Walk us through it.
Man, it was a battle tonight, Ricky. Good to talk to you again, though. I mean, I can't complain coming from the back all the way up to the front on a track like this. It was a good night. I had to push harder than normal, though. I didn't have anybody to follow up through. I kind of got separated from JR, so I couldn't tell him like I wanted.
Yeah, we saw you really having to work that bottom a lot of the race, and we're focused on that gaggle of cars that you were in. Now, late in the race, it looked like Mark Herzog was mounting a charge on you. Did you think that he was going to be able to get you from the outside?
Yeah, I had nothing left because I used everything coming up to the field, so I was just hoping those last couple cautions kind of saved me.
We heard J.R. Shepard say that the right rear tire was wearing a little more for him tonight. Is that true for you as well, or did you burn the right front a little harder?
No, the right rear. I mean, it's intentional. To get this car to turn really good, you kind of got to get it loose.
Yep, well, that's always a good feel. Who do you want to thank for your top 3 finish here tonight?
As always, thank my beautiful wife. Thank my friend Keisha for coming over and watching the race. You guys up in the booth, all the guys in the league, and Lowell for putting it on.
There you have it, your 3rd place finisher. It's Jeffrey Harden. Another great run for him tonight. That's it, man. That's been a fun show. Let's take you through what's upcoming here on the Virtual Grip Network. We got the BRL Invitational Late Model Series coming up at New Smyrna Speedway next week. It's round 8 of season 25. That's February 24th at 8:55 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully we'll have our overlays back and all our great cameras back. And, you know, Ryan will want to actually control the cameras. I'm just kidding. It wasn't his fault. We have technical difficulties outside of his control tonight. But before that, we've got the PGRL, the Pretty Good Racing League. They're racing at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's our 20th week of season 6. Coming up Tuesday night, 8:50 p.m. You'll see yours truly racing in there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Come on back and watch us race. Hey, on behalf of everyone at the Virtual Grip Network, Ryan Sineker, Chris Davis, myself, Ricky Harden, the Wall Harden, I want to thank you for being here and riding along with us, and we'll see you next time.